The next point I'd like to share, coming from the Holy Father's apostolic letter on the Christian meaning of human suffering, is that it gives us hope of eternal life and holiness. Holy Father puts it like this: as a result of Christ's salvific work, man exists on earth with the hope of eternal life and holiness. Even though the victory over sin and death achieved by Christ in his cross and resurrection does not abolish temporal suffering from human life, did you hear that? Even though the death and the resurrection of Christ does not abolish temporal suffering from human life. Why is that? I don't know. I mean, why does the Bible say that when St. Paul says that he fills up in his own flesh what is lacking in the sufferings of Christ? How could anything be lacking in his sufferings? They're all sufficient. It achieved perfectly. It achieved perfectly the fulfillment of God's plan. But it's almost like, you know, it's like 3, 2, and just before everybody said 1, and it all starts happening, it's almost like the past 2,000 years, you know, God counted down, like from 10 seconds, it's been dropping down, 3, 2, and it's almost like God's inhale as he was counting. And there's something everlasting about that turn. Maybe that's the moment between life and death, the transition from this world to the next world. God's mercy sustaining, because he wants everybody to be saved, you know, and to come to know the truth. He wants everybody to know his love. And it's in this, just waiting for that boom to come down. Maybe that's how, maybe when Jesus comes, I don't know, maybe when Jesus comes again in glory or something like that. I don't know, I'm just meditating out loud, you know. But it isn't. I mean, the Bible says things like, well, a day is as 1,000 years and 1,000 years is as a day. So, you know, do the math and come up with 1 second. You know, if I had to calculate it, I was really good. If a day is as 1,000 years and 1,000 years is as a day, somebody I'm sure did that. That's probably like a long time. You know, probably goes back into prehistoric. I don't know. But nonetheless, even though his victory over sin and death in his cross and his resurrection, it does not abolish temporal suffering from human life, nor free suffering from the whole historical dimension of human existence. It nevertheless throws a new light upon this dimension and upon every suffering, the light of salvation. This is the light of the gospel. The light of the gospel. You got to read the gospel. If you don't have your own copy of the Bible, if you don't have your own copy of the New Testament, you got to get one. You know, if you don't have a crucifix hanging in your room, if you don't have a crucifix on your rosary, or even just a wooden cross. On our rosaries that we wear as friars, we don't have a crucifix on there. It's just a plain wooden cross, because that cross, that's where we're supposed to go. If you don't have a rosary with a crucifix or a cross on it, get one. But most especially, got to read the gospel. Can't live the gospel unless you read the gospel. Can't live the gospel fully unless you read the gospel fully. And we got to read the gospel. And we got to read the gospel with the church so that we can live the gospel, so that we can celebrate and nurture this hope of eternal life, and so that we can make progress on the long, gradual, difficult, but awesome road of holiness. This truth, the Holy Father says, radically changes the picture of man's history and his earthly situation. In spite of the sin that took root in this history, both as an original inheritance and as the sin of the world, and as the sum of personal sins, God the Father has loved the only begotten Son. That is, he loves him in a lasting way. And then in time, precisely through this all-surpassing love, he gives the Son that he may strike at the very roots of human evil and thus draw close in a salvific way to the whole world of suffering which man shares. Jesus draws close to the world of human suffering, and please don't you forget it. Jesus draws close to the world of human suffering, and he wants to strike at the roots of human evil, not messing around up on the surface, but he goes right to the roots. Let's let him get to the root of it. Let's let him get to the root cause in our own lives. Because to the degree that we let him get to the root cause in our own lives, then we'll be able to go out there and make a difference and bring the gospel to the heart of the contemporary culture. That's what we got to do. Ready to go? You think that you're the only one that